Living Word with Pastor Arlene.
James chapter 1. We started in verse 5 for this study, talking about needing wisdom, asking God for it, knowing He will give it to us. We're to ask in faith, nothing doubting, so we're not like a wave of the sea. And verse 7 said, "For let not that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord." What man? The man that doubts, the man that has unbelief. You see, you have faith. We know that when you got born again, you received the faith of God. And in Romans chapter 12, verse 3, it says you've received the measure of faith. So you have God's faith. The problem isn't your faith, the problem is the unbelief. If you're like that wave being tossed to and fro, you're operating in unbelief. Where does unbelief come from? You're looking at the natural. You ask God for something, and if you don't see it immediately change, you start looking at the circumstances and the situation, and you think God hasn't answered. So then you sort of make an excuse for it and think, well, God's just not going to give it to you because you haven't worked hard enough or you're not one of His favorites. But you have the faith, so what you have to do is get rid of the unbelief. Quit looking at the natural circumstances, because it says, for the man that looks at the natural circumstances, or who thinks it's from God, but when you're that wave coming and going, so you're looking at the natural, and then you don't know if you've received it, you will not receive anything from the Lord. Why? God only responds to faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Why? Because He's a rewarder. He wants to reward you. He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. Are you seeking Him today? We want the reward of wisdom to get out of this situation, out of this temptation. Do you know in Nazareth, Jesus' hometown, it says there He could do no mighty works. If He couldn't do any mighty works there, why? Because of their unbelief. Well, if you allow unbelief in, He will not be able to do any works in your life.